Okay, Satsanga ji, before we begin, just a binti. You know, we've all come to the campsite here, and we've gotten somewhat settled into our cabins. And we're sitting down here, you guys had the kele, you guys had the fun. So what happened is our mind, even though you're sitting here right now, even though you guys are sitting here right now, our mind is still kind of like spinning a little bit. So, in order to get, maybe you can have. Satsanga ji, so I think that's better. So like I was saying earlier, before we begin, right now, I'm not saying about everyone, I don't know each one inside of you what's going on. Sometimes your mind is still running, it's not stable yet. So in order to stabilize your mind, what we're going to do is before we begin the vichar, there's usually a shabad which is read, and I will read that shabad, you can listen. That's how, when a katha vichar begins, it's done that way. But before we begin the vichar, let's have 30 seconds of just no talking, no movement, just quietly sit in your seat. You can do whatever you want, just no talking. And then we begin our vichar. That will help our mind come to ease. And then hopefully, Guru Maharaj Sikhi, we can grasp as much as possible from this presentation. So let's take 30 seconds. Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sahib Jiyo. Jaisa Satgur Suninda Taiso hi Madita Vichhadya Mile Prabhu Hadar Kah Kab Seet Har Namo Mantar Dridhaye Da Katte Hum Rog Nanak Satgur Tina Milaya Jana Ture Paya Sanjog Besmar Athah Gant Atula Jo Balago Tyo Nanak Das Bula Besmar Athah Gant Atula Jo Balago Tyo Nanak Das Bula. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Satsanga Ji, we're very fortunate, very blessed by Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, because they've given us an opportunity to come together in the Sangat to this beautiful Jagah at this Gurmat camp for these 4 days. So as you can see by the screen, the topic which was given by the Sevadars to Das is the uniqueness of Sikhi. Satsangaji, it's impossible to put the ocean into a bottle. How can I speak for 1 hour, or anyone speak for 1 hour about the uniqueness of Sikhi? How do you begin? I had a lot of difficulty trying to research for this particular subject. And I think as you go through this slideshow, you're going to see some things, you're going to learn some things, hopefully Maharaj Di Kripa Naal, but there's some things I'm going to have to leave out because it's impossible to put it into an hour, even a lifetime. So please remember, keep that in mind. This is not justice to Sikhi. This is not I'm not going to show you the uniqueness of Sikhi. I can't. No one can. But we're going to try to just get one small speck of it and try to hopefully understand. But before I begin the vichar, I need your help. You are the holy Satsangat. You have a lot of power that Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj has given the Sangat a huge status. So before I begin, I need your assis, your blessings. So please, give me your blessings so whatever is said from this stage is according to Guru Sahib Ji's Gurmat and not according to my Manmat. I don't want to give my opinions. So please put your dhyan, your concentration at the feet of the great Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji and ek wari fir fateh ucharan karo and give me your Cs. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. So Satsangat Ji, go to the next slide please. To understand the uniqueness of Sikhi, we have to start with the first akhar in Gurmani. The first akhar of Gurbani that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj uttered is Ik Oankar. And there are many religions, many paths, many spiritual paths. But Guruji said that Vaheguru is the universal Vaheguru. It's not like the other religions have a different God. Some people ask a question. Hey, you guys are Sikhs. What is your God? Who is your God? It's like, we don't have a God. It is simply Vaheguruji is the God of everyone. So Ik Oankar. And even the number 1 Ik, do you notice Guruji could have spelled it with an Ed, Siari, and a Kakka, Ik. But why did they write the number 1? Because it's Ik on its own. And someone else explained that Vaheguru is actually, he doesn't have a body or a shape. And he came as Guru Nanak Dev Ji, we all heard in many Sakhiyan. So if you look at the Ik, the number 1 there, can you see it? First it's a 0. 0 is like formless. There's no starting, there's no ending to a circle. Right? You can't tell where a circle starts and where it ends. It's nirguna, meaning there's no form. You can't understand it. You can't understand when it begins and it ends. And then from the 0 forms the 1. And even that's 1. From the nirguna came the sarvan, which is a physical body of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So even the number 1 Guruji had designed it in such a way, it has so much beautiful depth. There's some Gurmukhs that do Katha of Ik Oankar, it takes them months. It's so deep. Can't even begin. So Das thought it was fitting to start with the first Nishana in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, Ik Oankar. So Guru Sahib Ji says there's one Vaheguru and he is the universal Vaheguru of everyone, all living beings. Doesn't matter which religion, doesn't matter which path, which country, which color, skin, language they speak. We're not here to discriminate against anyone. So we can go into this lady a lot deeper, but just quickly wanted to share that one starting with you. Hanji. And in the next slide you'll see Guru Nanak Dev Govind Roop. Because remember, uniqueness of Sikhi. How is Sikhi unique? How is Sikhi different? Don't ever think, Satsangat Ji, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj was a messenger of Vaheguru, that he was a servant of Vaheguru, that he was sent by Vaheguru. Ida nahi sochna. Kyunki Guru Granth Sahib Ji di Bani aap keh rahi hai, Guru Nanak Dev Govind Roop. Oh, Govind de aap roop hai. He is Vaheguru himself. So A is this very unique nishani. Sikhi is very unique, and we're going to obviously talk about that more, but it's so unique that Sade Bani, our founder, is Vaheguruji himself. The next slide, just a couple of Gurbani Panktiyan. that illustrate that. Satguru Nanak pragatya miti tund jag chanan hua. Jo kar suraj niklya tare chape andher paloa. You know, Satsangaji, when someone's born, we say Janam, Janamdin. But we never say Janam for Guru Nanak Dev Ji or any of the Gurus. Because the word Janam, it has something else linked to it. Death, maut. So Guruji can never be Janam. Guruji's Pragat. Or we can say Prakash. Pragat means to be revealed. So something can only be revealed if it was already there before, but we just couldn't see it. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji was already there before as Vaheguru. We could not see them. They did not come into this world physically yet. And the next pankti, Jo kar suraj niklya tare chape andher paloa. That like when the sun rises, the stars, they disappear. The lightness, the brightness of the star disappears and darkness goes away. Because Guruji brought light and gyan and knowledge and the truth to this false world. Hanji, agli slide. So, one question asked is Baki jehde dharm hege, we respect all the religions. But ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ leader. Muhammad Sahib, Jesus Christ hoya, Buddha hoya. Some people ask, well, what's the difference between Guru Nanak Dev Ji and them? Satsang ji, ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਔਰ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ is supreme. ਬਾਣੀ ਆਪ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਆਪ ਨਾਰਾਇਣ ਕਲਾਧਾਰ ਜਗ ਮਹਿ ਪਰਵਰਿਓ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ himself came. But just like this example, imagine ਬਾਕੀ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਧਰਮਾਂ ਦੇ prophet ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਪੀਰ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, the leaders of the other religions, ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ respectful ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਤਾਰਿਆਂ ਵਰਗੇ ਆ, like a star. ਉਹ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ bright shine ਕਰ ਰਹੇ, very bright. Whatever seva jo Guru Sahib ne unhone lai hai, Vaheguru ne lai hai, wo puri karke seva. But what happens when a star is shining bright? It gives off light. But what happens when the sun comes up? The light of it, the sun is so bright. It just, all the other light of the tare, of the stars, it just merges into it. Because nothing can compare to the sun. Satguru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj example is like the sun. Bhai Gurdas Ji kehte jo kar suraj nikalya, tare chape andher paloa. कोई शंका ना हो साध संगत जी. Never have a doubt in your Guru. हाँ जी, अगली slide. As we mentioned, आप नारायण कलाधार जग में परवरियो and Guru Nanak Dev Govind रूप. So कोई शंका ना हो. Don't ever doubt that your Guru Nanak, Vaheguru ji aap hai. They're not a messenger, not a sevadar, they're aap. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, when they came into this world, they were very humble. They're not going to go and say these things. They spoke with such humility. So sometimes ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਨ ਥੋੜਾ ਸੋਚਣ ਲੱਗ ਪੈਂਦਾ, ਪਰ ਕੋਈ ਸ਼ੰਕਾ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ. ਹਾਂਜੀ. So you've heard of these three basic principles of Satguru Ji. Naam japana, kirt karni, and van ke shakna. You've all heard of this. It is the basic principles in our practical life of a Gursikh, is to always remember Vaheguru Ji's name. And we can do that at all times. Not just sitting Jangli Market in the Gurdwara Sahib or in our bedroom. You can do it anywhere and at all times. Keep Vaheguru Ji dhyan in your heart. Kirt karni, to engage in ethical and honest labor. I like how this description is given as ethical and honest. So Guru Sahib Ji ne jua khedna, gambling, lying, cheating, stealing, ਇਹ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ Guru Sahib Ji ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. So Maharaj Ji is very clear. So getting an education, Satsang is very important. Getting an education, no one can take your education away from you. You can get a good, solid position, and you can earn your kirt. But in order to earn your kirt, you need to have a sound education as well too. So please, Guru Maharaj Ji ne encouraged to get a strong education. Khalsa can be in very high positions and should be high in positions. So padho, jinne bhi mehnat kar sakde is very good, very important. And then with the kamai that Guru Sahib Ji gives you, whatever that may be, give your daswant to the Guru Gar and also give it to the others, give it to the needy, give it to the poor, share it. And these principles, when Guruji told them, Guru Sahib Ji didn't just tell them. In the next slide we can see that Guruji did them as well too. Guruji did do the Naam Japana, the Kirt Karni, and the Vandikeshana. Because there's one thing in a Gursikh's Jivan, we can try ourselves to do something, but then Guru Sahib Ji does something called Bakshish, Kirpa. And Kirpa will lift you and give you something which you haven't earned, Or you may have earned a little bit, but Guru Ji gives you more of it. Just like a baby bird. And it can't really go and get its own food. It can't chew. But the mother bird, it'll get the food, it'll chew it up in its own mouth, and then it'll give it to the baby bird. It'll prepare it for the bird. So Guru Sahib Ji ne aap kamai kiti sade vaste to make it easier for us. Hanji. And you can see that Guru Sahib Ji told many people that were confused and they were maybe under the wrong impression that in order to find Vaheguru Ji, you have to go to other places. Go in the mountains. So don't tell the camp organizers there's no need to come here or anything like that. Or here up in the mountain. But Mataji, tell them that you don't have to find Vaheguru Ji in the mountains. You don't have to go in the jungles and leave your family, leave society. There were some people, they would go up on a tree and they would hang upside down and think that's how you find Vaheguru. I don't know where they got the idea of, they did it, right? And there are many different ideas. People would put a lot of physical strain, but Guru Sahib Ji said, Vaheguru Ji is inside of you. Sab ke ghar mein bahar nahi, bahar to less upar. So those confusions, Guru Sahib Ji got rid of those. In the next slide you can see that another huge revolution, I don't want to just say revolution, but another huge gift that Guru Sahib Ji gave to us in Sahib is Guru Ka Langar in Pangat. Pangat means sitting on the ground. Here's the thing, Satsanga Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj came here to give the truth to everyone. But if you go and let's say try to tell someone about Sikhi, but that person hasn't eaten food for 3 or 4 days, they're going to have a hard time listening to you. They're going to have a hard time listening to you and you may not be able to process everything. Because the stomach is empty and it's really hard and difficult. So Maharaj Ji ne shikauna bhi bahut zaruri si. Prashada shikauna. A vegetarian meal given to the Sangat, whoever wants, free of charge. And they would do part and they would do ardas before eating that food. And that would remind them of Vaheguru Ji. And also Satsang Ji, Pangat vich behna. Pangat is also important, not sitting on tables and chairs, but Pangat. Why do we sit on the ground? Just quickly touch on it. Psychologically speaking, I think you're more likely to be at peace and quiet if you're sitting on the ground. If you're sitting on a table, you're more likely to start talking to someone, have a conversation. And also look at seva. Seva can be done much easier. Everyone's sitting in one line, you can quickly go and get the prasadi and give them out quickly. If they're on tables, you're going to have to go around and you can't even seat that many people. So that doesn't mean having a table at home is wrong. I'm not saying that. But Guru Ka vich, Maharaj Ji ne mirata hai chalai. So we should keep that strong and keep that in mind. And you can see Satguru Ji here, Vaheguru Ji da roop aap sangat di seva karde hain. So Langar was started by the great Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Hanji. This is a very important slide because Satguru Ji never went to someone and said that this religion is wrong, this religion is wrong. Satguru Ji did condemn practices which were incorrect and that were false, but they were so loving and caring and respectful to others. Hindu Musalman Navaya. Because here's the difference, Satsang Ji. The Sikh Panth is very unique. Sare religions satkarjog hai, respectful, ਅਸੀਂ respect ਦੇਣੀ ਹੈ. But Sikhi is in a different category. Why? ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ Hindu ਵੀਰ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੋ, can they go to a Muslim mosque ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਪਾਠ ਪੂਜਾ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ? No. ਜੇ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੋ, ਉਹ Buddhist temple ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਨਮਾਜ਼ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ? Can they do their prayer there? No. ਬਾਕੀ ਦੇ ਧਰਮ, they don't go to the other religions. ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਫਰਕ ਹੈ, differences. And sometimes there's even there may be a hesitation of being welcome. But every one of these, and even the atheists, Nastika Bande, they are welcome in the Guru Ghar. No discrimination, and they can still get something for their own particular path from Gurbani, because Gurbani is a universal message for everyone. So it's a universal. It's not about starting another path and differentiating. It's about actually uniting and connecting. Very different. Hanji. The Jodh, the light of Vaheguru Ji, is inside of everyone. You've heard of the expression many times, if you don't see God in all, you don't see God at all. So Vaheguruji's Jyot is in everyone. So if you see a person who's not a Gursikh, you see a person even they are Gursikh, remember there's Vaheguruji inside of them. Treat them with so much love and care that you're speaking to Vaheguruji. Pyar karo. Doesn't matter if they have a different belief than you. Guru, just have so much love that that person is reminded of the greatness of Guru Granth Sahib Ji or the 10 Gurus because of your pyar. Pyar is very important. So you imagine that light, that jyot of Vaheguru inside of you. What should we do? The next slide it shows is that explore it. Explore it. Find it. You're going to have to do Simran and Seva. You have to come to the Sangat, come to the Gurdwara Sahib and listen carefully. Coming to the Sangat in Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Darbar, your ears should be the most active. You should be listening. Your eyes, less, if at all. And obviously if you're going to sing with the Gurbani, of course you can. But your ears should be listening first. So what you should do, Satsangji, that light inside of you, go and explore it. Guruji already told you it's inside of you, go find it now. Look for it. And an example I'll give you. Imagine all this forest you see out here, okay? All these trees in the world. Imagine each and every tree, because I need your dhyan up here, Bacho. Some of the kids in the back. Imagine each and every tree that is one of the paps that you've done in your life. Because we've all made mistakes. Imagine each tree represents a mistake that you've made in your life. How much fire do you need to destroy the jungle, to destroy the entire forest? The next slide shows not a whole lot, just need that little flame. So the little light inside of you that you may think is little Vaheguruji's Jyot, if you explore it, if you do Simran and Seva, if you do Simran as much as you can, read Nityanem, read Gurbani, have pyar, it'll destroy all of those pop that we've done. Destroy them. And a forest fire, it spreads. It spreads fast. And how much prem, love you have, Guru Sahib is like throwing oil and gasoline on it. It'll spread and it'll throw all those flames into those pops and destroy them further and quickly. But you have to explore that flame inside of you. So, bachyo, don't go and start forest fires out there either. They don't get this, they just look at the picture and they go, right? Don't do that now, okay? I always have to throw in disclaimers now because people always get confused, right? You might get some more disclaimers throughout this presentation, but they are not. Ugly slide. No, this is not an accident, it's meant to be, right? Has anyone here been to India? Put your hand up, please. Okay, put your hands down. Jede tusi pinda vich gaye ha. Actually, not just India. I was at, not trying to do any criticism of anyone. I was at one of the Gurdwara Sahibs in the Fresno area, and there were a lot of monkeyas there too, right? So not just India, Fresno kuchi ayandiyan, chalo theek hai, right? Monkeyas bhi Guru Maharaj diyan, theek hai, okay? So this monkey, what it does, it has a sabah. Sare dhyan se suno. You guys can sit and smile as much as you want, but Kimagaru talking is done up here. So this monkey is a sabah, it does something. And you guys are all here mature, I'm going to say something, it's not a big deal, I'll just say it, okay? What does it do? It likes to sit on poo, okay? It sits on poo. If you're not sure, you can go follow one around and see what it does. That's what it does. What does it do after that? It picks up the gandaki, the negative germs, the bacteria or whatever, and it's going to go spread it. It'll go sit on a chair. It'll go sit on your hand. It'll sit on your killa. Hopefully not. But, right? So, you know what I mean? It'll spread it. It's going to spread it. So, ye gandagi te bendiya, te gandagi khalardiya. We don't want to be like that. We don't want to have negativity and go and talk about nindya and talk about negative things with the society and then go spread it and others. Hey, did you hear this? Did you hear that? No. This is not the sabha that we want. Makki arga nahi banna. Because what happens to this makki? No one likes it. Very few people like, oh, makki aa jao. No one does that. Right? I don't know. Hone do tan vele premi hone, right? But very few, right? What kind of makki do you want to be? Hanji, next slide. Don't get scared, it's okay, right? You want to be a shahad wali makki, the bumblebee. Punjabi ch kehte shahad wali makki, just for those people in case they don't know. Bumblebee. What does it do? It goes to flowers and it pulls out the nectar. Oda ras khachdi hai full da. But it doesn't look at the color of the flower, doesn't look at the size of the flower, doesn't look at where the jungle is, where the forest is, up, big or small. It goes and pulls the sugar, pulls the positivity out of it. It doesn't go to negative places, it doesn't go near the food. It only goes to flowers, good sangat. And it only takes the positivity. Because even if you go to the Sat Sangat, like you're having sangat here today, all the good Sikhs, guess what? You have a lot of gun, a lot of good qualities, but I'm sure some of us have negative qualities as well too. We're here to learn. We're here to get rid of those. We're here in this camp, we're here on this earth to get better. So why are we going to dwell on those things and focus on those things? So Sasangaji, this bumblebee, it goes and it pulls nectar, it pulls the ras out of each of the flowers with no discrimination. If somebody's in another religion, it's okay, we're going to look at the positive. If somebody's somewhat in Sikhi, they're Amritari, they're not Amritari, they don't have their hair, it doesn't matter. Respect and love to everyone. But here's the thing, after one bumblebee goes to the different flowers and pulls out the ras, it can't make honey still. It cannot make the shad. Shad nahi bana sakdi kalli. It has to get together with all the other bumblebees that have done the same. बाकी शायद दियां मक्खियां जिन्हां रस खिच्चिया हुंदा प्राप्त कीता हुंदा वक्खरे फुल्लां तो गुण देखे हुंदे आ उन्हां नाल संगत करनी पैंदी है and then it can make the shahad कदी नहीं बना सकदी. So this is a shortcut that the great Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj has given us, Satsangat. Coming to Sangat will magnify your guns and destroy your aguns, magnify your qualities and destroy your negative qualities. But you have to have that soch, not the other makhi. Disclaimer, don't go touch your bumblebee. Anji, next slide please. So these pictures are supposed to be bigger. They're supposed to be full screen, but I'm not sure why this computer is kind of like broken, so it's not working out. Right? So it's okay. Chalo theek, thank you. So this is Prathan Sri Darbar Sahib, just Sangat coming, bahut prem bhavna de naal. You know what it says? I'll give you one shoti chak. And we have a little bit of time. We're all sitting here as a family, we can talk. So Satsangat ji, imagine this, okay? Rehra Sahib, the part has just been done at Sachkhand Sri Darbar Sahib. No one's talking, and it's time for Kirtan. The Maryada during the Prathan times, it used to be that when the Ragi Singhs would sit down to do Kirtan, they would bring out the Tanti Saj, the stringed instruments. And stringed instruments, they have a special relationship with your heart. They'll pull on your heart and the chords of your heart. And what the Ragi Singhs used to do, for 7 or 8 minutes, they would just play the instrument in rag before they begin singing. They would just play the rag to set the mood. What that would do is, somebody's in the Sangat and they were having a tough day and they're doing ardas for something because they're sad. Someone's overexcited. Someone is depressed. Someone is not thinking about Sikhi, they're thinking about langar or something like that. Whatever happens is that 7 or 8 minutes of the Tanti Saj, the musical modes of rag, it will bring everyone at one frequency, one leh. And then the shabd begins and it'll be penetrating that person in their heart and they'll absorb it to the max. So I just thought it was a beautiful picture, and that's only possible if you become that bumblebee and look at the guna and positiveness. Hanji. Ugly slide. Okay, this is a log. I'm sure some of you can see that. So one time, the great Bhai Gurdas Ji. Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji is Gursikh who did the scribe seva, the writing seva when Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj was first compiled by the 5th Guru Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji. So the Sakhi goes like this. Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji, one time he went to the river and he saw a log like this. Te unhone dekhya. He talked to the log, and he actually talked to the river, pardon me. He said, "Oh river, how come everything else sinks? You make everything else sink, but you keep alive this log. You keep it floating. Why is that?" And the river spoke and said, "You know what? When this log was just a seed, I took care of it. I gave it water. It's my water from the river. I'm the form of water. I took care of it. Main is beej nu palya. I made it grow. I took care of it from it was birth when it's a seed. And as it grew, I saw it grow, and I love it. It's my child. And even to the moment of death, I can't desert it. I can't leave my child. How can I let my child sink? Even after that tree has been chopped off and it's cut up into a log, it's my child, I raised it, I'm going to take care of it. It's floating." And then Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji had a question. He said, "Well, what about the rocks and pieces of metal? That sometimes a rock gets stuck in a tree. Or maybe someone chops off the tree and there's a little bit of metal fragments or particles of the metal. They get stuck in the log and the tree as well too. What about those? Because I noticed that all the other rocks, they fall to the ground. They sink to the ground. The other pieces of metal, they sink to the ground. How come those small rocks that are stuck in the log and the small metals and fragment, how come they don't sink to the ground?" He said, just because they're stuck to the log, they're doing sangat of the log. They're doing sangat of my bacha. I love my bacha so much that I'm going to take care of whoever does sangat with my bacha as well too. Even though they're not my kids, the river said. Just like, when you have a friend come over, your mom or dad, they're going to give you food or something, they're going to give it to your friends too. It's not going to be like, they'll look at you, give you food, but ignore your friend, right? But the same way, it's natural. But the river is like the Guru Satsangji. Guruji will take care of us forever. And even those Gursikhs that are listening to their parents, listening to their Guru, Guruji will take care of those people that even do their Sangat. Now, if you go to the next slide. Okay, this means I didn't have a picture for this, so I just wrote it down so I didn't forget it. It's a Saki, so it's about a 5-minute Saki. And how much time do we have? 4. We have a little bit of time. This is Saki, you have to pay attention. Hopefully you like Saki. Are you guys bored yet? Are you okay? Pretty good. Did you hear anything? Okay. So Satsanga Saki goes like this. This is a very important Saki. You might remember this for many years to come, because the lesson in this Saki is really going to hopefully affect you in a positive way. Our 6th Guru, Sri Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, during their time, and during the 5th Guru's time as well, there was a Gursikh named Bhai Pranaji. Bhai Pranaji used to go to the forest, and he would cut down the wood. He would walk all the way to the forest, cut down the wood, bring it back, and he would bring that lakda, he would bring it for the langar. Because they didn't have stoves back during that time. So Bhai Pranaji would get the lakda every day, and raste vich oh paath kar dende sige. So every day Bhai Pranaji would get the lakda, bring it for the langar. He wouldn't talk, he would do paath. So he'd be doing seva and simran at the same time. He's been reading Nitnem, reading paath, and doing seva with the lakda every single day. And Guru Maharaj Ji ne bahut bakshish ki Bhai Pranaji te. So Satsanga Ji, during his life, while living, Bhai Pranaji realized and became one with Vaheguru. Jo assi Brahm Gyan kehte hain. And this is written down in our history. He became a Brahm Gyani. Nowadays, a lot of people use that word too much. But of course, there are Brahm Gyanis in this world. Why? Because we're all students. We're all Gursikhs. We're all students in Guruji's class. And what kind of a school would Sikhi be if no one ever graduated? Of course we have people graduating. But anyways, Bhai Pranaji, inni seva, inna Nitnem, unna da bahut si bani bahut padde sige, simran bahut pyare sige, he became a Brahm Gyani. So one day Bhai Pranaji is walking And he's walking in the jungle, and he sees someone walking towards him, and it's a Patwari. Patwari is a person who is a land surveyor. So this Patwari he's actually struggling. He's really exhausted. He had a lot of his equipment and his stuff, and he's picking it up, and it's really heavy, and he couldn't pick it up. He had to drop it on the ground. And I think he wasn't feeling too well, the Patwari. So he saw Bhai Pranaji from far away as well. He said, oh great, I saw someone. You know what, maybe I can ask him if he can give me a hand and take my stuff home, and maybe I'll even give him some money for it if he wants or something. I'm willing to do anything because I'm exhausted. So this Patwari, he met Bhai Pranaji. He said, Bhai Sahibji, can you please help me out and take my stuff home? And can you give me a hand? I'll even give you some money or something. Are you willing to do that? And Bhai Pranaji was a Gurmukh, obviously. So they said, of course I can help you. I can take the stuff to your home, but I do have a couple of requests. I will take the stuff to your home, but on our way, we cannot talk about anything worldly. कोई भी संसारी गल नहीं करनी ਆਪਾਂ। ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਨਿਤਨੇਮ ਜਾਂ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਪਾਠ ਕਰੂੰਗੇ or simran, or you can tell me a Sakhi of the Guru. And the Patwari said, I don't know how to do Path. I don't know how to do Sakhi. I don't know any of these things. So then Bhai Pranaji said, okay, I'll do the Path and I'll do the Sakhi. You just listen, just don't talk. That's all I ask. Patwari said, sure, it's a great deal. But Bhai Pranaji said, I want no money. He said, okay. So Bhai Pranaji was strong, and he picked up all the stuff, and he started to do Path. I'm not positive on this. I believe it's written that they did Sukhmani Sadhu Path. I have some places I've seen that written. So Sukhmani Sadhu Path, they started to do it. Bhai Pranaji and the Patwari was listening. So they finally reached the Patwari's house, and Bhai Sahib put all the stuff on the ground and said, here you go. And the Patwari went to give him some money. He's like, no, I don't want any money. And then Bhai Pranaji, inhone paropkar kita. Paropkar means to think better and do something good for the other person. So what did they do? Bhai Pranaji, because he was a Brahmgyani, he had a lot of spiritual wisdom as well too. Unhone kya, kande Patwari ji, I'll tell you something, don't forget it. He said, you have 8 days to live. You will die, you will pass away in 8 days. And he said that even though you're going to pass away in 8 days, I'm going to pass away myself in 4 or 5 days before you. Thode to pehla main apna shareer chhad dena. And ek gal hegi a, when you pass away, there's the Dharam Raja, he's the one that looks at our account and decides on our next janam. He's going to look at your life and look at all your goods and bads, all the things that you've done good and bad, and look, based on your life, we all know, Bhai Pranaji is telling the Patwari, you've not had a good life. So you will be sentenced, you'll be punished. You can call it Nark, some people call it hell, but you will be punished accordingly. But because we've done Sangats today, while I was walking with you, we did Sangats today, and we listened to Gurbani of the great Guru, what's going to happen is you will also get rewarded for this. You get everything it's a fair system. So when you go, make sure you ask for one thing. Make sure you ask to have darshan of Satsangat. Satsangat is the same thing as Sachkhand. Bhai Gurudas Sahib ji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਸਤ ਸੰਗਤ ਸੱਚਖੰਡ ਹੈ ਆਪਣੀ ਵਾਰਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਓ it's read many times. The holy sangat, the presence in Guru Granth Sahib Ji's darbar is the same as Sachkhand. So he said, whatever you do, make sure you ask for darshan to have the vision of Satsangat. So what happened? 4 or 5 days passed, and Bhai Pranaji left this world physically. And the 7th and the 8th day came, and the Patwari, he passed away as well. And he was taken by the Jamduts, the angels of death. He was taken, and they were said, okay, well, we're looking at your account here, everything you've done from birth until death. And you've obviously done a lot of negative things, but it says here that you will have to be punished for it. Oh, but I also noticed near the end of your life, you spent some time with a Gursikh, and you did Nitnem Path together, Gurbani Path together. And that has a very powerful reward behind it. So here's my question. The Dharam Raja, the person told him, the person in charge of the next life, he said, you can either have 1 year and you can go to a heavenly type of place, not Sachkhand, but you can go to a heavenly type of place. Or you can have 4 kadiyan. 1 kadi is about 20-22 minutes around there. I'm not sure exact number, around 20 minutes. You can have 4 kadiyan, darshan of Satsangat, which is also Sachkhand. And the Patwari remembered. He remembered, he said, oh yeah, Bhai Pranaji told me. He goes, yes, I would like to have darshan of Satsangat first. So the Dharam Raja, he told the Jamduts, the angels of death. He said, go take him to Satsangat. So they took Bhai Pranaji, they took the Patwari, they took him to Satsangat, but when they saw the gate to Sachkhand, they had to leave from far away. The Jamduts were standing far away. They said, there's the gate, we can't go there now. Now you have to go there yourself. Because Bani Aap kendi hai, har har naam japantiya kach na keh jamkal, nanak mantan sukhi hoye, ante milay gopal. Jeh sadhu gobind bhajan, kirtan nanak neet, pranam naam nah juthe, nikat na jaye ho doot. Where there is satsangat happening, Dharam Raja says him and the Jamduts cannot go even near it. And they'll be punished for it. They will not be let go of that path. So the Jamdut, the angel of death, he can't go there. So they let the Patwari go. He went through the gates. This is written in Surya Prakash Granth. He went there and the gates opened and the Patwari sat down in Satsangat and there's beautiful Kirtan going on. He's loving it, but he's worried. He's worried. He's looking out outside because the Jamduts told him, come back after 4 kadiyan. We'll be waiting for you right here. And then guess who he saw? Bhai Pranaji there. Because Bhai Pranaji was already in Sachkhand. And Bhai Pranaji said, oh, you've come. So you did have you did have darshan of Satsangat. Very good. And then Bhai Pranaji said, why are you concerned? Why do you have a concerned look on your face? You keep on looking behind you. He said, Minu unhone Jamduta ne kiya siga 4 kadiyan baad tu wapas aaye. And Bhai Pranaji told him, he said, the Jamduts come to the gate to drop you off? He said, no. He said, if they can't even come to the gate to drop you off, how are they going to come here and get you? Just remain sitting here and enjoy Sachkhand. And he was given that dawat. Sat Sangat Ji, Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj can do anything for us. Let's not ever doubt Guru Maharaj's Shakti. Sometimes we listen to Sakhi like this and our mind thinks, I don't know about that. No, let's never doubt the Kala of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So please remember the Shakti of Guru Sahib Ji Gurbani. And remember, always you put a disclaimer at the end because some people come to me with the funniest questions after. This does not mean you do one Sukhmani Sahib in your life, you're good to go. Okay? Don't do that. Please, roj paath jitna marzi kar sakte karo, marzi di khushi deni aapko. Okay? I've had somebody come up to me, he's like, I'm done. Main to ho gaya ji pura kaam. Right? So please, don't do that. So this presentation is the uniqueness of Sikhi. The uniqueness of Sikhi. Satsang ji, agri slide dekhi. You all heard the Sakhi. The Kashmiri Pandits, the Hindus were under attack, and they came to so many people to help them. No one helped them. They came to the house of Guru Nanak, Tan Tan Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, Nawe Pasha Ji. And Maharaj Ji said, we will be here to help you. No one leaves Guru Nanak Dev Ji's house empty-handed. And you know, I'm not going to go into the Sakhi today, but we all know that Maharaj Ji Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji said, go tell Aurangzeb the king that Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj is our leader, and if you can convert Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, then we'll convert to become Muslims. But if you can't, you have to give us freedom, let us go. And we all know, Tan Tan Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, next slide shows, that in Chandni Chowk, they gave their head, Shahidi Maharaj Ji ne, they gave their head for the entire dharms of all the world. Dharam di chadar, Tan Tan Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. Dekho Sat Sangat Ji, inna pyar even for people of other religions with a different ideology, different thinking. No one leaves the house of Guru Nanak empty-handed. So if the Hindu log got this much bakshish from Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. How much bakshish can we get from Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj if we consider ourselves Guru Sikhs? There's no limit to this. Hanji, we're almost nearing completion here. Sri Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj created this Mirada, Khande Bhate, Kipol, Amrit as we call it. And Maharaj Ji ne aap shakya, फिर आप लिया अमृत पंजाब पे आ रहे तो सो दुनिया कभी ना कहे you know what, maybe we don't need to take this. The Shakti of Amrit we'll never understand. We might understand a little bit more after we die. But Satsangat Ji, Maharaj Ji ne aap shakya, this Sangat nu dasya, aap shako. So please, if you have already, let's remember how amolak, how great this daat is. If you haven't already, please inspire yourself, inspire to do this. And Satsangat Ji, remember, your father, your true father is Sri Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj. Your Mataji is, next slide shows, Mata Sahib Kaur. She is your mother. But I wanted to put Mataji on a separate slide because Satsangat Ji, we don't sometimes remember a mother enough. You know, when we're a child and we make a mistake and we're like, oh man, my mom died and beat me up. We're worried about it. Usually, I'm not saying this is the same with everyone. Usually, we want to go to mom first. Like, Mummy, ho gaya sa gaal se to galti ho gayi daddy da right? It happened. Satya hai Satsangat Ji, right? Right? We just kind of make it up. We're like curling our fingers, right? Because sanu pata maan nahi kuch, maan ne kehna nahi kuch. And you know, when I was in India, because I was born in India, I came to Canada when I was 5 years old. It's not good to share too many personal stories, but I'll just share this one thing, right? My teacher in India, we used to start school in India age 3. Here in North America, we're way too easy. Even kindergarten, taking naps and changing diapers. I don't know what's going on, right? They taught us Hindi at age 3. Hindi, Punjabi, and English at age 4. So like, we're like Vadwans compared to all the kids over here, right? But right? My point is, well, my teacher in India, they should slap us every day. But I noticed a difference between my teacher and my mother. When my teacher would slap me, she would continue. She would have no mercy. But my mom, she'd slap too, then she kind of paused. She'd like, chalo right? Because why? Because I'm her son. Rishta hai. So Satsangat Ji, this is your mother, Mata Sahib Kaur Ji. Mata Ji nu bhi ardas binti karya karo. Mata Ji is part of Vaheguru Ji too. Do ardas binti, Mata Ji kirpa karo. Kirpa karo, Satguru Ji de Pita Ji de darshan baksho, apne darshan baksho. And sometimes you'll feel that catch to Mata Ji maternal love. And you know what? Explore Mata Ji's darshan as well. Want their darshan. Do ardas to Mata Ji. So please, bring Mata Sahib Kaur into your life as well too. We are forgetting this wonderful bakshish that Guru Sahib Ji has given to us. Bring Mata Ji into your life. Hanji. And as we all know, Jagdi Jodh, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji Jodh is alive in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj today and forever. 300 years ago, people used to bow down to many kings and fakirs and raje. 300 years ago, people used to bow down to the great Guru Granth Sahib Ji too. But now, in 2012, where did those raje go? Where are their kingdoms? But guess what? The Sangat is still there, bowing down to the great Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Guru Maharaj is here forever. The Shabd Guru. Jinna vi satkar Satsang Ji, respect Guru Granth Sahib Ji nu doge, fir vi katte. There's never enough love and respect you can give to your Guru. We are so blessed. We are so blessed to have darshan of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So jinni bhi seva kar sakde hain, Maharaj Ji di karo. Sangat Maharaj Ji di aake karo. And how much Bani you read in Guruji's Darbar is the radiation around Guru Sahib Ji is much higher. The bakshish around Guru Sahib Ji is much higher. Explore that Satsangat Ji. Hanji. And Satsangat Ji, next slide, it shows us, I think it does. Sorry. No, there's one missing, one back. Okay, it's showing up on mine. It's okay. It says Vaheguru, okay? the Panj Pyare give you Naam Di Daat Vaheguru. Vaheguru Swas Japo whenever you can, as much as you can. And really quickly, I'm going to tell you a Shoti Sakhi, next slide shows it. It doesn't really show it, it just kind of shows the text. Raja Janak Di Sakhi. Really quickly, Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji has written this in their Vara. I think this might kind of interest you guys a little bit. So Raja Janak was a Raja many years ago. And he also attained a Brahm Gyan. So when he passed away, it's written that no Jamdut, no angel of death came to take his soul. That many other servants, and let's say, you can say Devi Devta came to take him and to do his seva, they took him in a chariot towards Sachkhand. They were taking him, and on this road, so imagine this in your mind, imagine this road, they're taking Radha Janak, he's going to Sachkhand, and he hears some cries, he hears some yelling, some screaming. What does he hear? He hears the screaming and yelling, and he asks them to stop. He goes there and realizes this is yelling and screaming coming from those people that are being punished in Nark, you can say hell, for their negative deeds. Because Satsangaji, if you do something good, you get a reward for it. You do something bad, you get punished for it. It's a very fair system. So all these souls were in Nark, in hell, they're being tortured and punished because they did such evil things. And Raja Janak, when it tars aaya the much, he felt pity for them. He said, "Bichare galtiyan kar gaya." Even though they deserved this, he still felt bad. So Taram Raja came, because remember Taram Raja, his job is to look at everyone's account and look at what janam they get next. He came there too, and he said, "Kanji, Radhaji, you're here too." And Raja Janak, he said, "Can you bring out a scale? Like a scale you can compare two things?" He said, "Can you put all of their path of all the souls in hell on one side of the scale? Put all of the negativity, all of the path jinhane nahi kite ek paase rakh do. Tolana asi. The duje paase, put some simran. Put one kadi of simran. Let's say that's 22 minutes, okay? And what is heavier? What is stronger? What has more value?" So Dharmaraja put all the pop on one side of the scale, on the other side of the scale he put one kadi of simran. And the Dharmaraja said, simran of one kadi is much more strong and powerful and valuable than all the pops combined of all the souls of everyone in hell. So what did Raja Janaka do? Right there, Chaukri Marke, he did simran for that much time. Ek kadi. And he did ardas to Vaiguruji, give all of the simran to give all the fal, all of the kripa of this one kadi of simran to all the souls in hell. And Baksh Devanan. And Dharmaraja had to do it. Because Maharaji the hukum aa gaya, and everyone was released from hell, and all of hell became empty. Khali ho gaya, nark khali kar ditta saka. So Satsangat ji, this is written by Gurdas Ji Avara. This is not made up. The Shakti of Vaiguru Ji Simran, we can understand it. So जिन्ना भी साधसंग जी जाप कर सकते हैं आप तुरदे फिरदे उठदे बैठदे खांदे पींदे whatever you can जिन्ना मर्जी कर सकते लाभ है भला है your bank account of Simran is increasing. So please, instead of having just fun and games at this camp, do this as well too. On the last slide, Satsangat Ji Gursikhi is a beautiful, beautiful Buddha. And this Buddha is so unique. Imagine other Buddha, other trees that are maybe not as unique. We're not trying to disrespect anyone here. But ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੰਗਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਓਗੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਦਰਖਤ ਸੁੱਕੇ ਪਏ ਆ. No one throws stones at them. No one cares. They're ਸੁੱਕੇ ਆ. ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਦਰਖਤ ਤੇ ਫਲ ਲੱਗਿਆ, ਫਰੂਟ ਲੱਗਿਆ, ਇੰਨਾ ਬਿਊਟੀਫੁਲ ਹੈ, ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਫੁੱਲ ਲੱਗੇ ਆ, ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਪੱਥਰ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਆ. ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਪੱਥਰ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਆ. My point being, ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੇ ਬੂਟੇ ਦੇ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅੱਜ 2012 ਤੱਕ were under attack. The first Shaheed was during Guru Nanak Dev Ji's time. Bhai Tara was the first Shaheed during Guru Nanak Dev Ji's time until today. there are many shaheeds. And this Bhutta, my guru, it doesn't grow with water. It grows with blood of shaheeds. So if history is always repeating itself, which many times it is, and looking at the trend of Sikh history, whether they are physical, whether they are internal, on our baniya, on our nitnem, on our ardasa, on our amrit, on our reni bani, on our philosophy, or even our buildings, or on us physically, on our families, on the sangat. Please, Satsangaji, be as strong of a Sant Sipahi as you can be internally and externally. Khalsa di shakal bhi vakhari, akal bhi vakhari. Be as strong as you can, because this unique Sikhi, it tastes, there's no other taste that can compare to it. So my binti to you, that light, that jot of Vaheguru inside each and one of you, is in everyone. Please explore it and let it flourish. Explore it. And the last binti I'll say, is imagine that you are a flashlight. I usually give this example to little kids, but it affects everyone. Imagine you are a flashlight. And the light of Vaheguru is inside of you. But the problem is the lens, the glass of the flashlight has been polluted with our mind's thoughts and our karams and our negativity and kam, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankar. So when the light turns on, it doesn't quite shine through the flashlight. Jinni bhi seva karunge, simran karunge, hum manji jaogi, it will be cleaned. Paande di seva karo, langar di seva karo, naal jaap karo. Simran seva together. Watch the effect it has, watch the kala, the kirpa of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, and you'll be clean, and that light will shine bright. And this Bhutta, this glow of Sikhi will be external and internal. You will be able to fulfill your purpose of life. You will become one with Guruji. And remember, if you are the bachya of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and Mata Sahib Kaur, parents give everything they have to their kids. Everything they have goes to the kids. So let's become the kids and the bachya of the great Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and Mata Sahib Kaur Ji. I'm sure while I was speaking, made 1,000 mistakes. I'm sure I may have offended someone. I'm so sorry, that's not my intention. But through this presentation, I'm not here to teach. I'm here to learn. Because this is Guru Sahib Ji's Guru Sikhi. And this is going to go through my mind and my heart as well, to clean me as well. I'm a binti to Maharaj to give me this thought as well, along with everyone else. If I made any mistakes, please forgive me. Fateh Bulaji. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.